a few months ago, but I signed up, end of the year, and for me, really, it's been an amazing journey. It's there's so many wins to go over. Tom, I shared those with Tom, but fundamentally, it's just kind of not going from not knowing a lot. I thought I knew a lot, but turns out I didn't know a lot at all. I was on corporate world for all of my career up until January of this year, where I kind of switched gears and now have my own business. So going from W-2 to not having a constant stream of income, and having, the understanding of where money is going, how to invest it properly, and how to set up myself and my kids for success. Those are the fundamental things that really kind of make, that help me put on this, like this course helped me to, so it's priceless, to
Sure.
my opinion. Um, and those are the huge wins, right? And corporate world doesn't really give you exposure to kind of outside of 401k and traditional investment vehicles, and they want you to invest in the funds that they provide, right? And it just in the matter of less than 6 months, I've learned an entire different world of investing and small company and benefits of kind of going with a Roth IRA and things that they don't teach you, right? I thought I had a good understanding of what that looks like in the corporate world, because I worked for pretty good companies, public companies that gave you education, right? They
Yep.
gave you training that would provide you, like, oh, here's how you set up yourself for success. Here's where you should invest for your kids, 529. But this course has really opened my eyes to many more things, and I'm kind of going through them slowly. My circumstances are quite different. Like I said, when I purchased the course, I still had my full-time job and a side gig. A month into taking the course, I lost my job and decided that I'm gonna dedicate my full time to my side gig, which
Yep.
is not my full-time job. And it really puts a different perspective. So in a sense, that gave me a foundation, and then the network that that your platform provides is really what is giving me the foundation for small business, right? Like understanding your finances is good, but knowing like how to manage it day to day outside of somebody who has a day, paycheck,
Mm-hmm.
is much more difficult tasks.
For sure.
And I think that this your platform your is allowing me to tap into resources, right? That help me feel more comfortable that what I'm doing is the right things, and learn more about how to go about running a small business, right? And
Yep.
that's the biggest thing, really. Outside of, I think the fundamentals that you offer are essential things that we pay for, but the rest of the network, the people, and and introductions that you make, and references that you provide are completely different caliber. And I think that's where the value is for me, and I've been focusing on that.
Yep.
uh,
It's been amazing, man, to see this transition. Obviously, you've done a lot, and you mentioned like the network we bring in, meaning our Monday calls, which are
yeah,
there's a new professional every single week.
yeah,
We've had a
yeah,
few familiar faces show up once or twice, but like that's the crazy thing about this is that like what I always say is not only the community being here and like there's other professionals in the network that you can network with thousands of people, but there's also a new professional every single week, whether it be finance, insurance, real
yeah.
estate, whatever the case is, that we can
Hmm.
connect with, and that's very valuable. And that doesn't stop either. That's lifetime. That's the cool thing about this. And so
Yeah,
I see us building this more and more and more every single
sure.
day. That's what Tom and I are focused on.
Yeah.
It's incredible to see your growth, man. I'm sure in the beginning though you had to have some skepticism, right? Like,
Oh
you
yeah.
come across my account. Like, what
Yeah.
was it that got you over that hump to come into the group?
It didn't take me long. I think I came across your account. It might have been Instagram, I think. And it took me maybe, when I say not long, seeing from other people how long it took other people. For me, it was about a couple of months,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I took your webinar. I think you ran like an hour webinar. And then I purchased the $50 course, like financial foundation,
Yep.
whatever. And for me, it really what I needed is like, probably what the rest of the people do is hand holding. Like, okay, here's the schedule, here's what you need to do, right?
Yep.
Day one, day two, weeks, and keeping you accountable for it. So Angela and Tom obviously doing a good job. Wendy, I think now joined
Yep.
too, so she'll play a role in it. Keeping that accountable, and I think somebody suggested like, why don't we have a group of new people going through the same, through the course at the same time, so you have that support system. I think that will be a good idea too, if that
Yep.
hasn't taken off yet, because we're running 100 miles an hour every day, and like I haven't done anything, I'll be honest, in the week. I've submitted my um week 10, whatever, 14 that it was, my
Yep.
plan. You guys reviewed it, and kind of put your approval stamp on it. Now I need to set up all the automation. So it was 2 months. What really did the trick for me was really the desire to kind of get a hold of my finances and making sure that I'm spending the money properly, because I had the side gig, I had the income, and then
Yep.
we're kind of spending that on things that we're like, well, where does the money go, right? And I think for each person it's different trigger, like what makes you tick to sign up for this.
Yep.
And it's not cheap, right? So I think for a lot of people it's like, how do I really justify that expense? And it's getting that, justifying the expense for an individual, given by giving them a smaller course, for example, a cheaper course is a good way to get them onto the platform, or really word of mouth. I mean, I bought a book, obviously. I
Yep.
gave it to my niece, I gave it to my sister,
Amazing.
and I'm like, you guys gotta do it, and I'm gonna have my sister sign up as well.
Love
uh,
it.
yeah, no, definitely. One thing that I think was one of the questions, like, how can you continue expanding it? For me, what I'm thinking about right now, I'm focusing a lot on is kids.
Hmm.
So I'm setting up 401k, not 401k, 529, which I have. And then I'm gonna probably start paying them, right? Which I learned
Love
from
it.
like Mark Coller's
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
I'm following him. I bought his book. I bought Mark's
He's
book. Like,
great.
you don't understand. Like, I have these like books, and like I'm listening on audio. So I'm trying to. It's so much information.
Yep.
It's really hard to also. I think here's another focus area that maybe for each individual, and I'd love to do this. I kind of raised my hand, but nobody really. I don't know if I'm ready to do it myself, but I'm happy to do it. Like small businesses talks.
Yes, man. I want to do small business so bad. Like that's
Yeah.
even I'm kind of like selfishly wanting that to happen.
So I have a plan. I've been working on it in the background. Maybe I'll run it by you and Tom. I kind of mentioned it to him. I don't know how to send it to you, maybe just the chat or whatever.
Sure.
But it's kind of an idea, an outline. Here's what a small business really looks fun, from a high level, and then start diving into each individual ones. But anyway, what I was trying to say earlier is that kids, right?
Mhm.
Educating parents on how to not only save for kids, but also how to educate kids, right? To do
Yeah,
the same.
educate them directly. Yeah.
Yeah. So your course primarily focuses on professionals,
Yep.
or people that's young professionals and beyond.
Yep.
But how do you really like? So I think one area where you could take it to the next level is, and maybe it's part of the same platform, maybe just another kind of like, hey, this is why you might want to sign up. Is we educate kids, have a course for kids that you
I got
run.
that on the docket.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
exactly, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did. But that for me would have been great. I have a 12-year-old and a 6-year-old, so I'm gonna set up Roth IRAs for them. They're gonna get paid this year.
That's awesome, man.
you
That's so
know,
cool.
um, so all these things I knew nothing about earlier this year, and so like I don't know if I gave you any specific wins that you could use or whatnot, but these are
Oh
the
no,
things.
it's good to hear all of this stuff, right? Like
Right,
I think
right,
the biggest takeaway from this whole thing is I thought I knew stuff to holy crap, there's way more,
right.
and I was able to accomplish
Yeah,
this as well. That's awesome. That's awesome in itself. That's why I had these conversations and really like understand where you started, where you got to.
yeah,
Um, you know, in it's obviously incredible what you've done and a lot of wins you've mentioned so far. What would you tell somebody that's like worried, nervous? They're like, is this the right fit for me? Like, what would you tell that individual?
I would say just go for it, right? Because if you don't start now, then you're gonna regret it later.
Yep.
It's because if you don't start learning now, the time is what we don't have more of. Like you cannot
Yes.
make time. So the earlier you start to learn, the earlier you start to invest and save money in the right places, the better off you're gonna be in the future. I think that's my advice. Yeah.
It's scary though, because a lot of people don't understand the value of time. And like
Right.
it's hard to like explain this to somebody that just doesn't understand the core concept. I'm like,
Yeah.
guys, time is like the biggest wealth building factor. Like I could teach you everything in the world,
Yeah.
but if you don't start and you wait, it's not going to be as
Mm.
impactful as if you started, 10 years ago or 5 years ago. And like that concept, I wish it would like be more, I guess, understood across the population, but it's not, unfortunate. Are there any last words that you would share with somebody that is just wanting to get their finances right in general, but like they, for whatever reason, there's something holding them back?
I think the examples speak for themselves. And one thing that really kind of clicked for me is when I downloaded your first spreadsheet, the calculator for mortgage payoff calculator.
Uh-huh.
And I put in like save $100 more a month and put it towards premium. And I'm like, holy, I'm gonna be saving so many hundreds of thousands of dollars,
Yes.
right? So like if if that doesn't speak volume to you, like I don't know what does. Like you're gonna spend $100 on dinner, and not even think about it.
Yep.
Put that money towards your premium. Put that money towards paying off these scores. Just do it, right? That's kind of and that's what I'm gonna go with my sister after this and be like, hey, did you start reading the book?